A security camera recorded this guy knocking on my door late at night. I'm not sure what he's holding in his hand. This happened around 9:30 p.m., which isn't too late, but it's generally past the time when any reputable company would be knocking on doors. My dad suggested it might be someone with hunting dogs, as sometimes they track animals onto other people's land and need tracking devices to find them. However, I live in the middle of a city in Southern California, so hunting or animal tracking seems unlikely. What made me more curious is that he knocked multiple times, not only on my door but also on my neighbor's door. It didn't seem like he was up to anything malicious, though. Neither of us were home, and he left after about 5 minutes. He did look at the object in his hand a couple of times, but didn't write anything down. If it is a walkie-talkie, it looks like an old mode. The antenna appears to be about 8 to 10 inches. If it's a key fob code grabber, the joke's on him because I drive a Ford Fusion, and all of our cars are kept in detached garages. If anyone recognizes what that device could be, please leave a comment below the video. I'd love to know. I spotted something strange on a car in Michigan, which looked like a suburban model. It had an unusual setup that made it resemble a concept car, and since we were just outside of Metro Detroit, I figured it might not be too out of the ordinary. There were some devices hooked up to the exhaust, and I couldn't help but wonder if they were for testing emissions. But if they aren't measuring exhaust, then what are they for? What exactly do these devices measure, and how do they work? Any ideas? It's called Mule. It's a test vehicle for a major maker. They use these to obscure what they're actually working on. The modifications likely make the car louder than it should be and alter the sound to conceal the engine type. The strange paint job is probably intended to make it difficult to discern the vehicle's body contours, further camouflaging its design. Essentially, they're hiding as much as they can. By keeping the styling and engine details under wraps, they have the opportunity to make changes to pre-production cars without scrutiny from the public or the press. Almost every car website runs articles on spotted test mules because car enthusiasts enjoy speculating and discussing them. However, if an uncamouflaged car were spotted, mainstream news outlets might pick up the story, exposing it to a wider audience. Many of these people might not realize that pre-production cars are often quite different from the final product. I found this mysterious object at a garage sale in Florida over 15 years ago. The strange part is, it doesn't open, and it never had bubbles inside. The liquid doesn't flow at any noticeable rate, making it even more puzzling. The end caps are sealed, and I've tried various methods to open it, short of smashing it, but nothing works. I have no idea what this could be. I've searched online, but it's difficult to even describe properly. It's become a bit of a family mystery over the years. My mother recently rediscovered it while we were moving across the country, and it brought back memories. As a child, I was curious and even wanted to break it open, but now I'm hesitant. I can't help but wonder what the brownish goop inside could be. I'm hoping someone out there has seen something like it before. My biggest concern is that it's not something harmful. Hopefully, it's just something strange and harmless, but I'm definitely intrigued. Any idea what it could be? This is a liquid motion bubbler timer sensory toy designed for relaxation. In the 90s, it was common to have quirky little gadgets displayed on shelves, coffee tables, or desks, things like oils reacting with water, sand pouring, and objects with bubbles. This particular toy is a tube filled with liquid, and when you flip it upside down, the viscous liquid causes bubbles to rise slowly every 5 to 10 seconds, lasting for about 3 to 4 minutes. Once it finishes, you simply flip it back over and watch the bubbles rise again. It's a fun, soothing little distraction. I came across this intriguing shield made of some kind of leather at the National Denmark Museum. What caught my attention was what appeared to be embedded on the left side of the shield. The shield itself stands about 4 feet tall. At first glance, they resemble barnacles, but after some research, I couldn't find anything that matches exactly. Any idea what it could be? Those are called scutes. They are the bones that make up the plates on an alligator or croc's back. And funnily, the word scute comes from the Latin scutum, which means shield. So it's a shield with shields on it. I have several of these in my garage that are twice the size and weight, but are otherwise exactly the same. Weight's approximately 25 pounds. My grandfather had 20 to 30 at one point and would cut them up to melt down for horseshoe weights when he did corrective shoeing back in the 80s to 90s. These pics are not mine, but were found on social media. Some replies suggest that it is a lead pig used to store and transport cesium and/or radium. But after an extensive Google search and a reverse image search, I wasn't able to find any examples that look like this. Any ideas what this thing is? This is a lead pig. It would have been enclosed in a lockable box, probably of steel. The active sample inside would have been stored in an inner capsule or container to prevent any surface contamination of the lead. The specimen would be placed at the center of the spherical bulge, and the lid's angled cut would help prevent radiation from streaming out. Interestingly, I have a friend with a Geiger counter, so I had them check mine out. Fortunately, it seems there's no active radiation. My grandfather passed away from dementia, but as far as I know, dementia isn't linked to radioactivity. While cancer is definitively associated with radiation, the fact that he never developed it is a reassuring sign for the safety of my lead pigs. I'm based in Europe, and last night I poured a glass of water from the tap and left it on my nightstand under the light. But when I woke up this morning, I found something floating in it. Yikes! What could it be? It's about the size of a toothpick and has a soft, jellyfish-like texture. When I pinched it, it started to form blisters and move slightly. I live alone with only a cat, so there's no way it came from another source. At first, I didn't think it was silicone, as organisms can typically pass through that kind of mesh. I've sent it to a lab for testing, and am waiting for the results to figure out what this strange thing is. Any idea what it could be? I received an email from municipal water plant operator. She said, "It's calcium carbonate and calcium hydroxide precipitated crystallization. Also known as caustic soda, sodium hydroxide at my plant is used in aqueous solution. We use this as a pH correction to make the water the pH that it needs to be. It was likely very cold water that warmed up under your lamp, and that temperature change caused the reaction. If you get scale on your faucets and showers, I can almost guarantee it. I deal with a ton of myths and misconceptions about our industry, fluoridation nuts and conspiracy theorists, people who think we send out acidic water. There is nothing nefarious happening. I am free to answer any questions about any of our processes and how they work. Stop buying bottled water. I guarantee we are held to a higher regulatory standard than they are, and we are thousands of times cheaper and more convenient, and we have the distinction of not burying the world in plastics. To all those paranoid beeholes who think we are poisoning you, I just ask you to look at the historical trend of waterborne illness deaths in the U.S., or just compare the U.S. today with countries that do not treat for waterborne pathogens and how many people die. We save millions of lives only to have anti-science a-holes tell us we're poisoning them.